Hey there in YouTube land, and today we're going to talk about one of my favorite shows of all time, which is Doctor Who, and some of the theories that have been floating around, and hopefully I can clear up some confusion. I've been watching Doctor Who for a very, very long time. I'm one of the original Whovians. You know, back, well, not that long ago, when it started in 1963. I wasn't alive, but I've been watching it since about John Pertwee. And like, as like a young kid, teen, I guess, Tom Baker. From then on, I saw new stuff. Tom Baker when it was out, Peter Davison, Collins, Russ McCoy, the Fox movie when it premiered, stuff like that, and went back and watched all the original shows that were available at the time. So let's talk about the new series. There's been some stuff. I watch Emergency Awesome, who has a great channel by the way, and I suggest you check it out. However, he did an episode called kind of a Q&A one, where there were like theories about the character of Missy. So spoilers, warnings if you haven't watched the episode of Doctor Who yet. Why not? It's it's almost time for a second episode. Go watch it.
Some of you, if you know about the leak stuff, probably watched it way beforehand.
I hope you didn't. Hope you didn't do that. That's not cool. Anyway, Missy, the character that shows up at the end of the show. In Emergency Awesome's video, he has a theory that this character is kind of like bordering like kind of an insane type of thing, kind of like an off-kilter type thing to her. And one of the theories that some people had was, and this blows my mind, it truly does, and he thought it was the best theory. And I will have to respectfully disagree on this one, because it's about the most far out there, not going to happen, weird, bad theory
I think it's like the most grabbing straws theory.
Yeah.
Because like everyone wants it to be someone older, which makes sense because of the theme of the series, with the whole like I've made mistakes, I left things behind.
But
which is cool. But this is just like going far back for the sake of going far back and not like looking at like logic or reason.
There's no sense into the theory, which is Susan Foreman, who is the Doctor's granddaughter.
Yeah.
And she's not his girlfriend, and it's not like people don't know that it's a granddaughter, and that
was a fairly big part of it.
The whole family thing isn't played up in the beginning of the series. It really is.
And just go back and watch the original Doctor. Someone's like, well, maybe it's not a real granddaughter. He mentions it several times, and not just in like the old series.
He mentions it in the new series.
He mentioned it to Clara on her first actual adventure out with them. He says that I brought my granddaughter here a long time ago. And he's like, granddaughter? She's like, granddaughter? Whoa.
Yeah,
and he's mentioned it like several times throughout the new series. That's his granddaughter, yeah.
So
the whole boyfriend thing
doesn't make any sense. It's creepy. Please give it up, guys. It's not Susan. Susan, you may have seen Susan in the series already, actually.
Yeah.
You may have seen her in the last episode of David Tennant. There was an actress there that looked surprisingly like Susan Foreman.
Yeah.
I had a big crush on Susan Foreman.
The girl that like helped him out, the lady in white, I think they called her, something like that.
Yeah. That could be Susan, guys. So you may have seen.
I thought
Susan,
that was,
but that is
the longest time.
Now.
There are other theories, obviously, and ones that make sense.
Okay, next up is the Rani, and I have theories, and the Rani is a big theory because, well, this show used a lot of like used a Clockwork Man again, by the way, a different version of the Clockwork Man. But if you watch the original series, then you remember the Girl in the Fireplace episode. Yeah. Well, the ship that's in the Girl in the Fireplace episode is the sister ship of the episode that you see in this one. So basically, those Clockwork Men you saw with the long faces and stuff like that. That's kind of a version, what we see there with the half-man guy, is kind of a version of what the Clockwork Man is after he had his entire body put back.
Yeah.
Type of thing. It's not put back, but replaced. So that's where all that comes from.
Yeah.
The Rani is a big theory among people, and the Rani was a kind of a mad Time Lord. She was like very focused. She's not like Master. Although some people consider her like a Masterish character, she's not at all. Just because she's female and she's a Time Lord doesn't make her at all like the Master. She's nothing at all like the Master. Is she the Doctor's enemy? Yeah, and that's where it ends. That would be saying like the Dalek and the Cybermen are just like the Master. They're not. She is a female Time Lord, but more than anything else, she's a scientist. And the thing is, that's kind of driven her over the edge. She doesn't care about like people. She's very much a sociopath. She wants to get her stuff done, her scientific experiments done, and she has kind of the Doctor gets in her way, and if somebody gets in her way, Doctor, the Master, whatever, she's only been in 2 actual stories, the Mark of the Rani and the Time of the Rani, and an actual Doctor Who television continuity. Now you have to understand that the Rani character was a great character, but that was created actually by some really crappy writers called Pip and Jane Baker, who seemed to be really nice, but they didn't know how to write for Doctor Who.
What's her first story?
It was Mark the Rani.
Mark the Rani?
Yeah.
That's the 7th first story, isn't it?
Now, I have another theory on who this is, and it's a character that is not the Rani, actually. And we have to take out the books and the audios for this one. We have to go straight.
To be fair, the show does go against certain books and the audio stuff, anyways. So you can pretty much
So we're talking about stuff like Pocket Universe. We're talking about parallel dimensions and stuff like that, and we're seeing kind of that with this character here. And automatically, there's somebody that one could legitimately call the Doctor sort of her boyfriend in a way, and would have that. Was it a? I think she had an umbrella or something.
She had something. It was a
parasol.
Yeah.
Anyway, and that would carry a parasol at one point. There is one character who's also been in another dimension and stayed there, according to the series. Not according to the books and the audios, but according to the TV series. Yeah.
Actually, there we go.
That
can directly go against. You said to throw out the books.
Yeah.
In the books, I believe she went on to come back and be the president.
She did.
There, which couldn't have happened, as we see in the show. Rassilon is still very much in control,
which is really strange because he was supposed to be
dead. Yeah.
But anyway, Romana is a female Time Lord. Now, unlike the Doctor, she's actually kind of the tops of her class. The Doctor, you got to understand, was almost like a dropout when it came to Gallifrey. He was not, he didn't do well. Couldn't concentrate. He pretty much took off. And that's why when people talk about the Doctor and the female aspect, why is the Doctor female? Because, some Time Lords can change their sex and stuff. Well, the Doctor's not one of those guys. You have to be a really good Time Lord. The Doctor can't even change his TARDIS, let alone his sex. He can't control who he can become. Now, the character of Romana, she could control who she became. And in an episode, actually, when she does her regeneration, she doesn't complete the regeneration. She keeps going through different cycles of people until she decides who she's going to be. And the character she ends up being is looking like Princess Astra from the previous episode.
In a way, another reference that would be pretty prevalent in this specific series, as the Doctor himself is going back to a face that he's seen before.
Exactly. Now, and this character here does have a more, because of the fact that the actor, Tom Baker, and the actress, Layla Ward, were actually marrying at the time, they did have kind of a playful, really good chemistry on screen. And although they never come out as boyfriend and girlfriend, some of the scenes that they do, especially if you go back to the Paris episode from the original series, Tom Baker, then you kind of get that. And another thing that goes for that is that during this whole thing that we saw recently, we got to see the return of a villain that had only been in the series really once before, and but had been wanted over and over again. People kept wanting this villain, so finally the special comes up and we get the Zygons. And of course the Zygons were only done during Romana's period of the Doctor. So they're another theory on Romana being, I'm not saying it's Romana, but I'm definitely saying 110% it's not Susan Foreman. It's creepy, guys. Creepy.
The Rani or Romana make the most sense.
The other is mentioned in this video, and I gotta explain the other because if I don't, it's going to drive me crazy. The other, Andrew Cartmel was the head writer of Doctor Who near the end of the series. He basically, when Sylvester McCoy came in, they kind of didn't know what to do with him, and they're writing him as a more comical, kind of impish type of Doctor, but that didn't stay. He became a darker, more mysterious Doctor. You found out that he may have been Merlin at one point, and that he may be way older than you think. Actually, way older than the Time Lords think. And that's because there's even the comment where he talks about the Hand of Omega, basically.
Yeah, in
that he was there
the Dalek episode. Yeah, that's when he does that.
And it was there that he was there when it was created.
Which would be impossible unless he was there because Time Lords can't go back in Time Lord history.
Yep. So it's highly rumored and would have came out if the series was going on that the Doctor was pretty much a character called the Other. That was part of the Cartmel plan. Andrew Cartmel was a writer that I really highly recommend you check out his stories. They're the later Doctor Who stories, but they're really well done, and they may give you some idea of exactly where they were going to go with the show from there. And a lot of his stuff that has been picked up and used throughout the books and later on here.
I'm not sure if that's
what am I missing so far?
What are we missing?
Right?
What are we missing?
The Master. Another theory is that Missy could be the Master, which could be Missy, could be Mistress, which would be a female version of the Master. This is actually also a highly unlikely theory because a lot of people complained about the fact, like I just mentioned, that the Doctor didn't become a girl, even though that would make no sense at all for Doctor Who continuity in the series. Especially considering he can't control his regenerations.
The only thing he's ever been able to control,
for the Doctor becoming a girl, like, that wouldn't add anything to the story.
Yeah, like, no. It also doesn't, like, continuity-wise, it doesn't actually make any sense. Because, the only thing he's ever been able to affect, as we can see subconsciously, is that he's always a male from England,
but I don't think he can
close
affect.
to England.
Well,
but
Scotland.
If he has, from the United Kingdom.
But I don't think he can.
I don't think he can affect it. Like really, I think the only I think if there's any like amount of him like having any influence on it at all, it's that's just his preference.
Even when they gave them kind of the choice during War Games to pick one of these faces, he never picked any of them, and the Time Lords basically like gave him a face, which would be John Pertwee.
Yeah.
He never really could affect like his how he changed, and like as far as like growing the whole other Doctor half type thing.
Yeah.
That's basically that's a body part, and he couldn't even change that regeneration into something else. It pretty much just mimicked, kind of Xerox copied what he already was. Which if he had the power to regenerate and change himself, you think that he would effectively change that regeneration somehow. Now, the Master's theory is there a lot because one, Missy, Mistress, Master, like I mentioned before, and some people think that where a lot of people were complaining and bitching about the whole like, oh, the Doctor's not a girl this time. Why isn't the Doctor a girl?
There's no rational reason for it. It doesn't make continuity sense.
You don't just put something out there just to put it out there.
Yeah, it's true.
Doctor Who has a lot of strong female characters. There's no reason to make the Doctor a girl. This is my thoughts. It's pandering for all the wrong reasons. If you want to have strong characters in the series Doctor Who that are female, have strong characters in the series Doctor Who that are female. Write a good female character, because the whole idea behind it is that people are thinking, well, isn't it sexist that the Doctor is not a female? No, I think it's actually sexist to make the Doctor a female, because that means what? That the strongest character is always going to be the Doctor. He's always the strongest character. He's always it's pandering and it's insulting.
I don't like anything being done in a series unless it
and it's like
on a storyline basis needs to happen for things to grow. There's nothing that comes from that.
It's gimmicky, and it's like saying, look, we're politically correct, but no, you're not. You're the opposite of politically correct. Because you want to give me a strong female character, you don't have to change the sex of your character. You don't have to just write strong female characters, companions, villains.
For example, I'm not like I really like characters like Martha because she's probably the strongest of his companions that we've seen in the new series.
Well, she becomes strong, but we got to understand that
she's
first
like
she's
a little bit like
love-struck.
Oh, love-struck.
No.
But
the strongest companion is one person.
Are you gonna say Donna? You like Donna?
Donna.
But like the way I see it is she was totally in love with him, and eventually she ended up getting over it and going on and spending, I think it was like a year, that technically never happened, but she still remembers it, fighting against the Masters like troops and like getting things together and becoming like a resistance leader. And she went on to move.
She becomes a kick-ass.
She becomes a member of UNIT as well.
But doesn't she go with the guy afterwards?
She goes with Mickey, which was just kind of like a look. We're tying everything together.
But okay, but we got off on a tangent. Let's get back to what we're talking about. The Master. Could it be the Master? Yes, it could be the Master. The Master is a stronger Time Lord.
I wouldn't
He
understand why
has
he
the
would be
ability.
there.
Why not? The Master's one character that has manipulated himself to
That's
do
true.
to do other
But
things.
last time we saw him,
As for what I
he
think
was
that place
on
is,
Gallifrey.
I think that could actually be a TARDIS. This could be
That
a
could
room
easily
of
be a TARDIS,
This
'cause
at the end of it could be a room
You can
of TARDIS.
change the outside and inside of TARDIS if you what you want. So
Yeah, well, if you've seen the Regeneration episode with Peter Davison, where we see a nice bit of TARDIS because he starts unraveling the scarf and stuff like that and going through different rooms in TARDIS. It's nice to see. It seems to be that they're going back towards the Cartmel direction because we're starting to see we're seeing the armchair again, which we saw in the '96 film, and
I thought I saw like books, like in the sides of the walls. I thought I
there's
saw like a small bookshelf.
yeah, and
Which
bookshelves
makes
are also
sense
in there.
because the first thing you see.
The only
is,
thing
like,
you
the
don't want to see
Sephiroth
come from the '96 film, Eric Roberts' Master. You really don't want to
or
see
the
that.
half-human thing. That's still. They
That
never
doesn't-
explain that away, but
Eli'd,
yeah.
basically in the books or something. One of the others, something, he's just Eli'd or something like that.
Yeah,
And
the
Eli'd
master
was-
apparently totally falls for it because he's like, "Oh, of course that makes sense. This is why
Totally
you do
human.
this thing with the Eye of Harmony."
Psych.
But
yeah.
I think also one thing that was also mentioned in the Emergency Awesome video, which I think should be addressed. I don't think that the mentioning of the face thing is so unimportant.
Oh
I
my
think
God!
that
Yes. No, it is extremely important. The face,
they
whole
talked
idea
about it a bit.
was that not only
Moffat
did they
said he
talk.
was talking to Davies, and he said, "Does your idea for why he would be in these two places work? Could I
Emerson.
still use this storyline idea?" And he said, "If he's the Doctor," and he says, "No, it makes perfect sense then." And they're
Yeah.
like, "All right, we'll go with it." I think it's going to be slightly bigger. I
This
don't know if
is
we'll address it this series.
This is not just a little storyline. This is going to be his face, and where his face comes from, is going to be a huge part of the story. And I think it goes way beyond Fires of Pompeii. This, and by the way, the character has been used twice.
Yeah,
Not just
Fires
in
of
Fires of Pompeii, but also been used in Torchwood. And I think
during
that
the,
both of these are going to be addressed. I don't think we're going to address just one here. We're going to realize that yes, he's been to other people, and it's not the whole look, it means he cares and he's still human stuff. No, it's not nothing like that. This is something big. This is going to be a big plot point within the series, and they're going to drag this out a bit. And Moffat likes to do this. This is either going to be done. If Moffat leaves the show, it's going to be done in this series. If Moffat's staying for the next couple of series, this is something that could actually go between this series and the next one. But it's going to be a big plot point. There are rumors that we're going to be losing Clara. Not sure if that's totally true, but if it is, you can expect that around Christmas special.
I'm not
if
sure
it does
how much
happen.
that bothers
But
me.
you know, I love Clara.
I think Clara's really wishy-washy between episodes.
She is not.
Sometimes she's like really like, oh, it's interesting, but like
She was a little bit.
in this episode, she more than anyone should have known what it's like for the Doctor to regenerate.
Clara is basically the mirror of some of the audience.
Yeah.
And some of the audience that bitched and stuff like that. She was
Also,
basically that.
There was
that
certain
person.
comments she made in the last series that like disturbed me. Like for example, like when there's the episode where he has to go, like there's a ghost or something in the house. I forget what it's called. And he goes to the beginning of time and the end of time, basically, of the planet.
Okay,
anyways.
so
Get the cat. He goes to the beginning of time and end of time. And he's like, oh,
now before she goes over there.
Yeah.
The cat is up on there where she's not supposed to be, and you know this from one of my other videos where basically
he goes to the beginning of like the world in that specific spot and the end of the world in that specific spot to see if it's always been there. And Clara calls him out, saying like, you know that we're all dead. We're just like ghosts to you. And I thought like, though it's an interesting question, that was kind of insulting to the Doctor. There's a few scenes during last series where she was just kind of like insulting the Doctor, like, you don't understand us on a human level. And it's just kind of... Which is why in this episode, when she's like, I don't know if I know the Doctor anymore, because he was kind of like my boyfriend. It felt...
There's another theory that's
she
going
feels
around.
weak.
By the way, we gotta address this.
Is there?
There's theory going around that the crazy girl is Clara.
That would actually make a bit more sense.
Well, it'll make more sense than Susan Foreman. What the hell, guys? Susan Foreman? Come on, seriously.
Well,
Slap.
that actually makes sense because of the boyfriend talk in the episode, because they say, like, you considered this your boyfriend in that. And they said there wouldn't be, like, a flirty thing this time.
So anyway,
But Clara's a very flirty character with him, so I can kind of see that. I
there's some
understand how
interesting
they do
characters.
that.
Rani, Romana, Clara,
Not Susan.
not Susan. And just for thinking that was Susan, slap.
I would
Naughty.
I would fall into believing it was Canine more than I would Susan.
Canine. Dude,
At least
this
he
could
says
be
the word
Chameleon.
mistress.
This could be Chameleon before Susan. If you don't know who Chameleon
You know-
is, it's a character from the Fifth Doctor's run that they paid a lot of money for and got 2 episodes out of. They
Yeah.
basically bought a real automaton, a moving robot character. But then they realized that it took a hell of a lot of programming to get this robot to move even a finger. So they ended up having this like thing that looked kind of like, remember our robot? Kind of like that. But it couldn't move. So you basically had a slightly movable statue. I could have got a cardboard thing for a lot cheaper and could have done the Chameleon thing. Or they could have went with the other stuff. The Chameleon thing was a bad idea. John Nathan Turner did it because John Nathan Turner was always looking for the next gimmick and stuff like that, and the next thing to like bring Doctor Who back into the limelight again. Turner's unfortunately has passed away. He spent a long time on the series, and he even when he tried to get off it, the BBC would drag him back in, and he would stay because he didn't want the series to die, and he knew that there's other people waiting to see that series be canceled. Unfortunately, that finally happened in the year 1989, or the year I graduated from high school, and decided that I suddenly didn't want to become an actor anymore, and I was going to become a journalist. And honestly, it had a lot to do with the fact that I was going to be an actor on Doctor Who. I guess I should have thought way down the road. But this has been a long video. Those are our theories. So, Rani, Romana, future Clara. The River Song one. No. No. This doesn't make any sense.
The storyline kind of ended with that. I've heard some people say, well, maybe she regenerated.
No.
Regenerations were taken away. I've heard some people say maybe when the generations went to him, it also went to River Song. That doesn't make any sense at all in any way.
We have one
She
more
doesn't have
theory.
a body anymore.
We have one more theory to address. A future version of the Doctor. That's kind of strange. Yeah, it's been that there too.
That doesn't...
Like,
I
I know.
don't understand why he would like,
Call himself his own boyfriend.
Yeah,
Maybe-
he's never referred to himself as the brother of the other ones. He hasn't
Yeah.
referred to them as a father or other stuff. So I don't understand why he would make any relation to that character whatsoever. Also, she asks if Capaldi, 12th Doctor, killed the Clockwork Man or he committed suicide, knowing that she doesn't. Obviously showing she doesn't know. Honestly, that actually credits more towards the Romana theory, if it's someone who wants to see...
Well, the
Romana
whole
or Rani,
science...
someone who wants to see what the Doctor's going to do and
whole-
considers him kind of a boyfriend.
The premiere episode of the season was Science Gone Wrong.
Yeah.
And nobody is more science gone wrong than the Rani.
Yeah.
And that's why right now my theory is the Rani, with my backup theory being Romana. I kind of hope it's Rani. I hope we're going to see that this year. Thanks for watching,
You know
guys.
what would be terrible? If it was no one. It was just like some random character named Missy.
That would totally suck. Yeah, don't do that, Moffat.
It's me, Missy. You remember me?
This character that was off screen or something like that, or someone's on the show for like 2 seconds one episode.
Yeah.
It's me, Missy, you know.
It's obviously...
I died in the Titanic episode. But at 20-something minutes, I've got some packing to do downstairs from the old apartment. So I got to finish this off here and get that done. So it's time for tea and back-breaking work.
Change. Not a moment too soon.
Colin, you are an awesome doctor.